girls, we're on to our second lesson for fractions this week. So in your work booklets you will have received a sheet that looks like this and a sheet that looks like this. So if you'd like to pause the video now and cut out your shapes so that you're ready to go, and we're just going to use the bottom of this sheet, so if you cut out that one there and that one there so that you're ready to go. Alrighty, once you've cut those out, we're going to use these pieces here first, the ones that kind of look like toast, and you can colour them in if you would like so that they look a little bit more like toast. Okay, or bread I should say, not toast. 2 pieces of bread, alright? And what I want you to do, just to have a bit of a practice, I want you to fold your piece of bread in half, okay? I want you to fold it in half. I'm going to show you how to do it first. So you need to join up the 2 edges like that. I've folded it from corner to corner. And now it looks like a triangle. So then you hold where you've joined it here, and then you pinch the other end and you squish it together, and then you just go all the way along that line like that. And then if you open it up, you can see a fold line in the middle there. So we've folded our piece of bread in half. Now we can tell that it's in half because they're both the same size, because if I fold this, they both match up along here. They're both the same side. They're both the same size. They're equal sizes. There we go. And what I want you to do, if you've got scissors at home, I want you to cut along that fold line so that you have got in your hands 2 equal halves of bread. 2 equal halves of bread. There we go. Yum, yum. Beautiful. And you can double check again that they're the same size by sitting them on top of each other, by overlapping them. Like that. There we go. They're the same size. I want you to pause the video now and see if you can figure out another way that you can fold your piece of bread in half. Think of a different way that you can fold your piece of bread in half. Have a think. I want you to do it and then I'll show you how I would do it. So I've got my piece of bread here. Instead of joining the 2 corners, I'm going to join my 2 sides. So I'm going to fold it in and join up the 2 sides. So I'll hold those 2 sides here together and hold that, and then I'm going to pinch it on there and then bring my finger across that way to fold it in half, and then we can open it up and we can see a fold line down the middle. And I want you to do the same thing again. I want you to check that they're the same size. They're both covering each other, so they're both the same size. Grab your scissors now. And I want you to cut along that fold line so that you've got 2 halves of bread. Yum. Beautiful, there we go. You've got 2 halves of bread just there. Alright. Now our 2 halves that we've got here, I'm going to use my magnets to put them up there. Our 2 halves that we've got here are the same size as each other, and then our 2 halves here are the same size as each other. It's the same size of bread, but we've halved it, we've cut it in half in 2 different ways. One of them we have cut diagonally from corner to corner, and one of them we have cut in half. So it could either be straight from top to bottom, or if we had our piece of bread this way, from side to side. I might use my texter so that you can see what I'm talking about. So we could have cut along here like that. Some people eat their sandwiches like that. I don't. I eat mine in 2 triangles. We could have cut down here like that. Beautiful. What I want you to do when you've cut those in half, you can have a bit of fun, and I want you to draw some sort of spread on your bread, okay? Now when I have toast, I usually have strawberry jam on mine, so I'm going to use my pink texture, and I'm going to draw some strawberry jam on this piece, like that. Oh, just for a bit of fun. And you can colour that in, and then maybe on my other one, I might do, well, if I can get this to work, I might do some apricot jam. That's something I used to have when I was a little girl. Not everyone's had apricot jam. Maybe you can put your hand up if you've had apricot jam. So I'm going to use the orange for my apricot jam. And you can colour that in so it looks nice and full. There we go. Beautiful. Alrighty, once you've done that, you can glue that onto a piece of paper if you would like. That's up to you. Maybe you can even write the word toast. You should know how to sound that out because we know our sounds. What sound can you hear at the start of the word toast? Let's do that quickly. We might as well while we're here. What sound can you hear at the start of toast? Toast. Toast. A T. Good job. Toast. O. Okay. What sound makes the O? I mean, what letters make the O sound? There's 2 letters that do it. The letter O and the letter A. T, O. We've got 2 more sounds. T, O, S, T, S. Yes. S. Good job. And lucky last, toast. We've got the T again. Beautiful. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sounds in that word. T, O, S, T. Maybe you can write that at the top of your sheet where you've glued these on. Moving on from that, you should have your shapes cut out, ready to go. I'll move my sandwiches down here, yummo. I want you to sit all of your shapes out in front of you. I'm going to use my blue tack to sit on my whiteboard. I've got a square. I've got a rectangle. A triangle. And a circle. See that one just there. Beautiful. I might even move this a bit closer. Awesome. So I want you to have a look at each of these shapes, and we're going to pick our square first because it's quite similar to our toast. Now you can choose to either do this one the way that I did the toast the first time. I turned it into 2 triangles, or you can cut this one in half by creating the 2 rectangles. So if I grab this one, and you can fold it first to help you cut it in half if you would like. So I'm going to fold mine, same as the way we did our toast. 1, 2. There we go. And I'm going to grab my scissors, and I'm going to cut along, cut along that fold line. Beautiful. Now, can you remember how we double check if we've cut it in half correctly? If they're equal sizes, remember the word equal? We did that in class previously. Equal sizes. We can sit them on top of each other to double check that they're the same size. There we go. They're cut in half, they're both the same size. Beautiful. So I've done mine like that, or maybe you've done yours so that it's become 2 triangles. That's up to you. I'm going to sit this back on my whiteboard. I want you to go ahead without me and have a go at doing the same thing for each of these shapes. So for example, for our triangle, I want you to cut this one in half. So try folding it first, because that'll make it a little bit easier. Bit of a practice. I want you to fold it in half first, join 2 of the corners, that one and that one, and then press, and then use your scissors to cut along that fold line so that it's cut in half. I want you to do that to all of the shapes, and then play the video and we'll look at our next step. Good job. So now I've got each of my shapes cut in half. I've got my square cut in half, and I've double checked that they're both equal sizes by sitting them on top of each other. I hope you've done that too. I've got my rectangle here that's been cut in half, and I've double checked that they're equal sizes by sitting them on top of each other, like that. Maybe you cut yours in half a different way. There's another way to do it. Have a think, what was the other way? I could have cut it, so I won't write on that. I could have cut it down this way, from top to bottom, instead of sideways. But it's still cut in half either way. So if you did it the other way, you're still right. Or I've got my triangle here that I've cut in half. And this one's a bit tricky because if I sit this on top of this one to check that it's the same size, if I pick this up like that and sit it on top to check if it's the same size, it's a bit tricky. Instead of sliding it over, you need to actually flip it over so that the triangle is facing the same way. It's a bit tricky for you to see because my board is white and my shapes are white. Oh, there we go. So what I've done, it was like that. I can't go like that because it doesn't match up. I need to go like that to double check that it's the same. Oh, to double check that it's the same size. There we go. And lucky last, we've got our circle. I've cut it down the middle there. And same thing again with our circle. If I just slide it over like that to check that it's the same size, it doesn't match up. So I need to flip it over like that. There we go. Beautiful. What I want you to do now, boys and girls, I know I'm giving you lots of jobs. What I want you to do now is cut your shapes in half again. Okay? So for example, let's work with our square again. I'm going to grab the piece that I had cut in half and I'm going to fold it again. Like that, and then cut along the fold line. I want you to do that for each of your halves, okay? So take your time. I'm going to do the same thing, so pause the video, and then when you come back, mine will flash over to all of mine being cut in half again. Okay, so there's an example. There's my half that I've cut in half. Again, lots of cutting, boys and girls. Alrighty, pause the video and have a go yourself. Okie doke, boys and girls. So I have cut each of my halves in half again. Golly gosh, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see them. There we go. There was one that we came across, and you probably came across it too, that was a bit tricky. We'll talk about that in a second. So, if we have a look at my square that I started off with over here, if we were to put all of those pieces back together again so that it was whole, we would have a square. But it's broken up it's cut into 4 parts. So we halved it once, and then we halved it again. So now it's a bit of a tricky word, and you don't really need to know this, but we can learn the word now. It's now in quarters. So we have got 4 quarters. Holy gosh, can you say quarters? You don't need to remember that just yet. So we've cut it in half once, and then we've cut those halves in half again, and now we have got quarters. The same thing for our rectangle. We cut it in half once, and then we cut those halves in half again, and I've actually been a bit tricky. For my first half, cut it down this way, and then for my second half, I cut it in half this way, so that it created 2 different shapes. Now remember, you can double check that you have cut it in half by sitting it on top of the other to make sure they are equal sizes. So this one is equal with that one, so that one's still cut in half, even though it's different to the top one. And this one is the same size as the other one. So it's still cut in half, even though it's different to the one down the bottom. There we go. I wish I used a different colour paper. It would be much easier to see. I'll keep bringing the computer in. There we go. I'm going to skip our triangle. We're going to go down to our circle, and I'll come back to our triangle. With our circle, it looks a little bit like a pizza. Maybe you could make a picture out of this. With our circle, we cut it in half, and then I've cut it in half again this way so that it looks like we've got pizza slices. Now you can double check that they're all the same size by picking up one of the pieces and sitting it on top of the other pieces. That one's the same, and you need to turn it around so that it fits the same shape. There we go, that one fits that one, and that one is the same size as the top one. Beautiful. So we've got 4 quarters. So when we first started off with our circle, we cut it in half, so we had 2 halves, and then we cut it again, and now we've ended up with 4 quarters. Can you say 4 quarters? Good job. Okay, now with our triangle, our pesky triangle, when we first had it as a whole, this is a bit tricky. Let's see how we go. When we first had our triangle as a whole, all of the sides were the same size. But then, when we cut it down the middle, the sides on our smaller triangle ended up being different lengths. So that one is different to that one, and this one's the shortest out of the 3 of them, okay? Which actually means that we can't fold it in half. It makes it a bit tricky, okay? So if you couldn't do that one, that's why. It's a bit funny. So we'll leave that one how it is. What I want you to do now, boys and girls, just to have a bit of fun, I want you to get a bit creative. If you've got some scrap paper at home or maybe a piece of newspaper that you could glue it to, I want you to make a picture out of your parts, okay, out of your quarters. So, for example, if I move these out of the way, hang on, let's have a look. Pull them off and I'll rub this out. Maybe you could make a big house with windows. Maybe you want to make a pizza like I suggested with the round pieces. I think that I'm going to make a house, so I'll start mine off to show you what I mean. Let's have a look. And you can draw as well to join them up. I want you to draw on the pieces, make it look really interesting. You get to be a designer today, maybe an architect if you're doing a building. I'm going to sit, let me see, I'm going to sit that as part of the roof, and you can colour these pieces in. And that over that side as part of that roof. And then I'm going to join in the middle make the roof join together. And then that one there as well. And now for that one can be, that's going to be the door, a nice long door. There we go. And then I'm going to put that down there. That's going to be a flower bush, I think, as part of a garden. I like that idea. And then there's another bush over here at the side of the house. Make it pretty. And then I've got a window for the house on this side and a window on this side. You can use your imagination. You can make whatever you want to make. And you don't have to use all the shapes either if they don't fit into your picture. I'm going to draw an outline for mine now. I might even actually cut one of my halves of my square in half again. What do you think I'm going to make out of it? I'm going to make a chimney. For this cold weather, I've got the fire going in my house. There we go. So here's my roof. Just there. There's my chimney. And I've got the actual house. Ta-da! Here's the door. We've got our windows. Whoop. Another window. Door handle. Just there. Here's my plants out the front. You can draw some pretty flowers on yours. I'll do one or two really quickly with my textures. Like that. Use some pink because it's a pretty colour. There's another one, but you're going to make yours look a lot nicer than mine. And then maybe you can decorate the roof so that it's got tiles, and decorate the chimney so that it kind of looks like bricks if that's what you're going to do. You don't have to do a house though. I can't wait to see what ideas you come up with. And you can use, let's see, what else can I do? Maybe you could do a path. There we go. Whoop. And you could decorate the path. Do the sun in the sky. Draw stuff in the background. I'm sure whatever you design will look really cool. I can't wait to see some of them. Yeah, have a go at that. Thanks, guys. I can't wait to see you hopefully soon. We'll see how we go. Enjoy your maths. Bye.